Thank you so much for taking the time out today. I'll just very quickly introduce the team here. I'm Gagan Girotra. I'm one of the managing partners at GenEdMBA, and we are very happy to host you. A quick introduction. Eddie has been with Cornell for more than 11 and a half years now. Eddie is currently the Executive Director of Admissions and Scholarship at Cornell University's Samuel Curtis Johnson Graduate School of Management. Eddie has over 3 years of work experience with the University of Buffalo also, which is also Eddie's alma mater. Eddie worked here in admissions and student relations. So Eddie's quite an experienced person when it comes to even general Q&A around what candidates can expect or what candidates expect to know from, what admissions committees are typically looking for in accepting candidates. Along with Eddie, we have Atul Mohan. Atul is an alumnus of 2017. Atul's an undergrad from Manipal Institute of Technology. The people hosting you, I'm Gagan Girotra. I'm IIT Roorkee alumnus class of 2000, and I'm Calcutta class of 2005. Vikas Singh's also here. Vikas is an NIT Trichurapalli pass out. He did his MBA from HEC Paris, and he's very closely associated with GenEd. GenEd was started in 2007, where three of us from IIT Roorkee, we got together and figured that admissions to B schools, and they require a lot of research and they require a lot of assistance. And to offer that kind of assistance, essentially GenEdMBA was founded. The services that we offer range from GMAT preparation to helping you build your profiles through your resume, LinkedIn's, help you network, like one of the calls we're having right now, getting you connected with admissions committees. Eddie's here thanks to our efforts in making sure that all candidates are able to network with the right people, get the right information. We also help with B school selection, which schools to apply to based on your profile. We help with essay editing service and interview preparation should you get invited for interviews. Now, we have till date a very good track record of helping candidates get accepted at the right schools. This is a snapshot of some of the people that we've been able to help. On top of that, we have quite a few esteemed and achievers in their own right, people associated with us on our advisory panel. And some of the tools that we offer, apart from our services, you can go to GenEdMBA.com. This is our website, and under the tools section, there are a few tools that will help you essentially, give you a kickstart in terms of all the things you might need for a successful application. For example, this is the profile evaluator tool where you can key in some of the information, and our tool will, based on algorithms and AI, it'll come up with what your chances are for each of the schools. Another tool will help you select the right B school based on your profile. So again, you key in certain information, and this tool will come up with certain schools which might be the right fit for you. Another tool, you can generate a sample essay. There's quite a bit of information that you need to key in, but at least this will give you a start when it comes to writing essays. Another tool will help you ascertain what your chances of success of admission to a particular school is. I mean, it'll test how great this marriage is going to be. We have devised another tool based on our experience and come up with a micro 15-minute test and a mini test, which will help you kind of, give you where you stand in terms of your GMAT preparation. So you need not go the whole 3 hours to know where you stand in your GMAT. So this tool is a very preliminary. This will kind of give you that inkling as to where you stand in terms of your GMAT preparation. Now, there's a disclaimer that I need to make here. The disclaimer is that all of these tools are only, indicative. Please don't take the outcome of these tools as final outcome. These are only indicative tools. Please take them and, they're just indicators of where you stand on each of the parameters that we just mentioned. This is some of our media coverage. Of course, if you get us in front of a screen, we'll like to, make a little noise about who we are and how we've been covered in various national dailies. These are some of the schools we regularly host. I'm so excited to have Cornell University also join this list. These are some of our contact details. We'll obviously be sharing these contact information with you, and these are some of, on the right hand side, you can see some of the platforms on which we are which we frequent and which we are able to you can connect with us there as well. A final thought before I hand over to Eddie. Essentially, we very strongly believe in authenticity and integrity of candidates and how we assist candidates in their applications. We want to make sure that our candidates they give exactly the right information, because we believe that anything which is not authentic, admissions committees, they see hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of applications each year. And anytime you try to be not authentic, I think admissions committees are very smart. They will identify if there is something wrong. Then we make sure that we offer transparent and realistic advice to all our candidates. Then the approach we take is completely personalized. We because every B school is looking at candidates as individuals. I think a lot of candidates have an idea of an ideal candidate that Cornell will accept. But our understanding of the process is that you need to come across as unique. You do not need to cut down on certain aspects of your personality just to match the kind of template you might have in mind that Cornell will accept. So please come across as who you really are, and we help you do that. So with this, I'll hand over to Eddie. Eddie, thank you so much for your patience, but we had to give a little understanding of who we really are, what our relationship and association with you really means. So with this, I'll just stop sharing my screen and hand it over to you. Please feel free to start sharing your screen.
Great, thank you so much. Well, I appreciate the work that you all do. Of course, especially, thinking about the candidate and making sure that a candidate puts their best foot forward. And I appreciate what you said about the authentic part of things, and making sure that candidates truly stand out in the best way possible, I think is really important. So, once again, I appreciate those kind words as well. So I am trying to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Wow. Thank you so much. Once again, thanks so much for your patience. My name is Eddie Asbie. I am the Executive Director of Admissions and Scholarship here at Johnson. As mentioned, I have been with Johnson for about 12 years. I've been in higher education for the last 20 years. One thing that you will always hear me say about my time within Johnson is how much I love the program, how much I value the MBA, but also the wonderful things that I've seen the MBA do for many of our students. So happy to share more about the program, the admissions process, and of course, jumping into more of a Q&A side of things. So some of the things that I'm going to briefly highlight today is really just talking about the program options that we have. In particular, within my role, I do oversee our 2-year residential MBA program. Some of the things that makes us unique throughout this process, from the immersion to the Cornell Tech campus options, leadership, career outcomes, and then of course at the end, really focusing more on the admissions process as far as what we are looking for within our program. So I'm sure that many of you have done your research on our website as far as the various different offerings that we do have. And I wanted to briefly just highlight the various options, because I do believe that it's really important that as you go through this process, you really understand which program is the best fit for you. So whether it is a traditional 2-year MBA program, whether it is a 1-year specialized program focusing on tech, whether it is executive MBA programs, whether it's specialized masters, etc. It's important that you do your due diligence, do your research as far as, once again, which program makes the best sense for you. As you can see also, for the 4 programs that are highlighted in red, those are also STEM designated options for our students, if that is something that is of importance to you. The first 2 programs that I really do want to briefly mention, which we'll talk about the 2-year program, where our incoming class it's about 285 in that class, where we typically see students who are career switchers. Maybe you're looking to expand within your current role, function, or industry right now. You know you need that 2 years of networking, that internship opportunity. That's another great option for you. There's also that Cornell Tech MBA program. That's a 1-year program that really bridges the gap between business and the digital economy. And we'll also talk about that a little bit further. So once again, just doing your due diligence on which program best fits you is going to be really important. So let's actually talk a little bit more about the 2-year MBA program, what sets us apart, what I truly believe in our program really provides the flexibility for our students. But here you can see what year 1 looks like versus what year 2 looks like within our program as well. Year 1 is pretty standard, like most business schools, where you will go through your core curriculum experience. You go through the core team experience, which is made up of about 4 or 5 students from various different backgrounds, and it's working together with that group to get through the core leadership opportunities. In the spring semester of your first year is what we call our immersion learning program, which we'll highlight in our next slide. There's that summer internship, and then in your second year, it really does provide the flexibility for you to tap into any other areas and programs at Cornell, focusing more on leadership, great international opportunities, and then also, once again, having that opportunity to customize your program if you are interested in bridging the gap between business and technology through our Cornell Tech MBA program on Roosevelt Island. So this is just a kind of a glimpse of what the 2-year journey looks like. But I will tell you that with our MBAs, whether you are a career switcher, whether you are looking to once again expand within your current industry right now, I truly believe that Johnson and Cornell has so much to offer. But once again, that flexibility is something that is very key. So just want to briefly highlight the class profile. So this is the class profile for our rising second years right now. Our incoming class for the class of 2026 actually just started this past week. So at some point this upcoming week, we will present our class profile for the incoming class. But this is just to kind of give you a sense of what we saw from last year. And once again, keep in mind that this is more of your average class profile. Know that we take a holistic approach in the application process when identifying who's the right fit for our program. But as you can see, a class of about 283, you can see what our median GMAT was, the overall range, GPA, and then of course the overall representation of what we had in our program. So one of the things that we're really proud of as far as our class profile, as well as the type of students that we bring within our community. So let's talk a little bit more about the program itself. And as I had mentioned, you know, some of the things that I love about our program is really the flexibility, but also what I believe sets us apart is what we call our immersion learning program itself. So talking about the immersion itself, it is an opportunity for you to really immerse yourself throughout your particular career path. So if you are looking to go into investment banking, for example, in the spring semester of your first year, you are spending that entire semester focusing on you know, that particular industry, getting hands-on experience, which we really focus on that performance learning side of things. You get feedback from business practitioners while also doing company insight visits as well. And with the immersion itself, I believe that it's a really great opportunity, especially if you are, once again, a career switcher. So think about it, you know, whether you're looking to go investment banking, strategic product and marketing, digital technology, there's a management consulting immersion, there's a corporate finance immersion, and then there's also a customized option. So if there's something that you're looking to go in that's in particular, it's very niche, this gives you that opportunity to spend, once again, a full semester before that internship, really digging deep into this industry by taking advanced level courses, getting feedback from experts in the field, once again, doing site visits, etc. One of the things that we do hear from companies and business practitioners is that our students are well prepared for the recruitment process and for their internship because of the immersion and how it really gets in depth and really prepares you for those next steps. So, once again, I think this is one part of our program where students really succeed and really are able to show why they're the best within this industry and hit the ground running in their internships. So I want to highlight next just a little bit about our New York City elective options, and there's a few different options that I want to highlight. There are our New York City elective courses, which happens in the fall semester of your second year. There's also our intensives, which I'll highlight, and then there's an option for a 1+1 program. So with our program, there's, once again, is that flexibility, but whether you're looking to have the best of both worlds between Ithaca, which is home base for us, whether it's New York City, which is, once again, where our Cornell Tech program is housed, this New York City elective option happens during one single weekend in the fall semester of your second year, where you're spending that Friday and that Saturday taking elective courses, but also networking with our Cornell Tech students, networking with faculty as well, just to get a sense of, one, what the campus does in particular, the types of courses that they offer, but also if you are looking to stay in the tech side of things in the tech sector, it gives you an opportunity to really see what and how Cornell Tech really teaches these courses and really prepares their students. So you can see some of the elective courses that are offered for this weekend elective option. But then there's also 2 additional intensives. There's a FinTech intensive, and then there's also a Culture and Media Technology intensive. And these intensives are both 7-week intensives that happens in the spring semester of your second year. So these intensives will happen the semester right before you graduate. But if you are looking to immerse yourself into, let's say, the FinTech space, it really gives you that opportunity of, one, not only working with business practitioners, really actually working on tech applications in the financial space. As you can see below, some of the sample courses and elective courses that are offered. But once again, it gives you the opportunity to not only experience both campuses, it gives you the opportunity to really network with Cornell Tech students, but also be in the heart of New York City, which is a strong hub for FinTech. And then also similar to the Culture and Media Technology intensive, this is also another 7-week option. There is, for this one in particular, there's 1 required course plus 2 elective courses over those 7 weeks. But it gives you the opportunity and flexibility to really show your creativity. If you are big into data analytics and really more of the strategic side of media and technology, this is also a great opportunity for you to really be able to explore the campus and to really be able to grow in this space. And then the last thing about the Cornell Tech program itself, we recently launched a 1+1 program. And the 1+1 program is doing 1 full year in Ithaca, so home base in Ithaca, and then your second year completing the Cornell Tech MBA program through their studio curriculum itself. And once again, this is for students who have tech experience, looking to stay in tech, and really being able to have the experience of both campuses. The one thing that you have to keep in mind regarding the 1+1 program, if you are applying to this, you will complete the 2-year MBA application. And in that application, there is a question demonstrating your interest in the 1+1 program. And as we are doing your review for the 2-year MBA admissions process, we also do provide the opportunity to offer you a spot for the 1+1 program as well. So happy to answer questions afterwards regarding this. All right, so I know that I've talked a lot about the curriculum, about what sets us apart from the academic side of things and various options. But one of the things that you're going to hear a lot of is about leadership and how leadership is very important to us, and really how our students really develop as leaders. So yes, we know that you want to get a great education. Yes, we know you want to get a great job, but we also know that whether it's the long term of starting your business, whether it's being a partner at a firm, whether it is being a managing director somewhere, or whether it's just leading your classmates through clubs or organizations, through the core team experience, we really want to make sure that you're prepared as a leader here at Johnson. So here are some photos of just some of the recent things that our students have done, whether it's social gatherings, whether it's winning case competitions, whether it's international treks that our students join, or whether it's just getting together with your core team through various opportunities. Johnson does a really great job of really preparing our students to be dynamic leaders. Just to stay on the topic of leadership, we believe in our 4 C's framework, which focuses on competence, character, compassion, and courage. But also, there are so many different initiatives that we have, within Johnson that really, prepares you for that leadership. So later on this week, we have what we call our Johnson Outdoor Experience for our incoming students. And these are some photos from Joe where they're outside going through some fun leadership activities with their core teams. Our students can sit on the board of local nonprofits in the Ithaca area. There's our Johnson Leadership Fellows who are mentors to our 4th years as they're going through the core team experience. So the list goes on ways that we really prepare you as leaders. Just want to briefly highlight what the career placement looks like, and I'll let you all, of course, go onto our website to look at some of this data. You will notice that the numbers presented here are from 3 months from graduation or after graduation for the graduating class of 2023. We will be presenting data for the class of 2024 over the next, I would say, month or so. So be on the lookout for that. But I would encourage you to go onto our website. It gives a full breakdown as far as what recruitment looks like, where our students are going, of course, average salary. Here you can see some of the top recruiters from the class of 2023 as well. But the one thing that I will say is that our students go into so many different industries and backgrounds. So don't, I wanted you all to know that it's much more than, the financial sector or consulting or the tech sector. We have students who are going more the healthcare side of things. We have students who are going into education, more the military, hospitality, the list goes on. So what I would encourage you to do, if you haven't done so, is to really connect with our current students to really talk, or even our alums, to really talk and learn more about the program and where our students are going as well. So just a couple more slides, and I know that we'll get to Q&A in a second, but just want to briefly highlight Ithaca. So if you aren't familiar with Ithaca, Ithaca is located in central New York. We're about 4 hours north of New York City, about an hour south of Syracuse. There is a bus that runs between Ithaca and New York every single day, 2 to 3 times a day. But we are located in a beautiful, beautiful college town with waterfalls in the area, wonderful state parks. We're also in wine country in New York State as well. But this is a great place also to really bring your families, your significant others as well. So if you have the opportunity to come and visit, we would love to welcome you to campus, as I do believe that Ithaca has so much to offer. All right, so my last two slides, of course, I can't end a presentation without talking more about admissions, the deadlines, what we are looking for. So hopefully by now you've done your research as far as what the application deadlines look like for this upcoming cycle. You know, if you're applying round 1, round 2, round 3, you'll see that those deadlines are in September, January, and April. If you're applying in September, we do have an initial notification deadline, which is November 1st. That pretty much means that if you, by the time you apply by September 18th, by November 1st, you'll hear one of 3 decisions. If you've been placed on the wait list, without an interview, if you've been invited for an interview, or if you've been denied without, or denied after the initial review. For anyone that is moved forward to interview, final decisions will be released on a rolling basis up to December 6th. And the same thing with round 2, round 3. We get asked the question all the time, does it matter which round I apply in? I'm going to always say, make sure that you apply when you know your application is at its best. But I will say that typically we see the bulk of our applications in round 1 and round 2. Round 3, depending on what a year looks like, we could have limited to no spots. But also, if funding is important to you, I would say I would encourage you to look at round 1, round 2 of applying. And then the last thing I would say is kind of more of our application checklist and really what we're looking for. So, you know, I'm sure that many of you have really looked at our checklist or other schools' checklists, which are pretty similar. But I will always say that the first thing that I look at is going to be your resume and your work experience. So, you know, having a good sense of what you've done throughout your professional career is something that's very key. One of the things that I would say keep in mind is technical jargon, acronyms. You can't assume that we understand every role, responsibility, that we are aware of every company. So as a candidate, it is your responsibility to really break it down as far as the work that you do. There's your goals statement. So what is your short-term and long-term goals? We also have one required essay. And with our essays, you have the option of choosing one of 2 essays. The first essay is the impact essay, which we've had for the last few years, identifying how do you see yourself making an impact within the Johnson community. But then the second essay is called the unique trait that defines me essay. So thinking about a unique trait that others would remember you by. And we know that candidates have unique stories. There's things that you really want to share that you feel that the committee should know. So this gives you an opportunity of really highlighting that. It doesn't matter which essay you choose. Just make sure that you're really thoughtful on answering that essay. Of course, a list of activities. We require 1 letter of professional recommendation, a second one as an optional. Of course, your academic transcripts, so your undergraduate, any graduate work, any certifications that you have out there. We want to make sure that from an academic standpoint, you can truly handle the rigor of the program. We do allow candidates to submit the GMAT or the GRE or to ask for a test waiver. What I will say about the test waiver, one, the waiver is not for all candidates, but if you come from a strong quantitative background, you can truly demonstrate your quantitative ability from your undergraduate experience, professional experience, certifications, maybe your recommenders can speak on it. We will consider candidates for the waiver. And then, of course, the last 2 things is if English is not your native language, we do require TOEFL or IELTS unless you have conducted your education, which is conducted in English. We will grant waivers that way. And then, of course, the last thing is the interview process, which really gives you the opportunity to really tell your story of why you're a good fit for Johnson, why the MBA makes sense, and why this is the right time for you to get the MBA. So as mentioned earlier, being authentic and genuine in this process can take you so far. There are many times where I've seen someone that's very scripted in the interview. We're seeing a lot more of AI being used, which I would, if you're going to use AI, I would say use it as a starting point, but that should not be your finished product. But once again, I think that genuine nature can really take you far in the interview process. So that is a little bit regarding our admissions process, the things that we are looking for when talking with candidates. So I really hope that this was helpful to you as we got through this, but happy to answer any questions at this time. So, all right.
Thank you very much, Eddie. There's a few questions which have already been mentioned in the messages here. The first question is regarding, so you mentioned that candidates can seek English language test if they have studied in English language, which is true for most of the candidates applying from India. However, the candidates wish to know, is there anything that may go against them if they're seeking to escape taking the IELTS or a TOEFL? How does the admission committee look at people seeking those waivers?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So no, not at all. We don't hold that against you at all. So at the end of the day, you've already demonstrated and you've proven yourself, especially with a undergraduate institution, even graduate work as well. As long as that institution indicates, and we will ask for just proof of that as well, whether it's on your transcript that this indicates that English or your academics was conducted in English. So, if there's any concerns regarding anything from a standpoint with English, this is what the interview is for as well. So, we're going to assess your overall presentation, English comprehension, etc. So as long as you're able to, demonstrate your English proficiency, you will be all set.
There's a question comparison between round one, applying for round one and applying for round two. I believe you mentioned round one, round two together versus round three, right? So it makes a lot of sense if you're looking for scholarships to apply for either round one or round two. You kind of, when you're mentioning it, you kind of club them together, and round three, as whatever residual seats may be left, go for round three. But between round one and round two, Sahitya wants to know, is there a difference for Indian applicants?
So I would say, I wouldn't say no, that there's a difference for Indian applicants, and it really depends on the quality of what we're seeing in round one and round two. So I've been doing this for some time. There's some years where round one, it might not be the strongest round, and we may put someone on the wait list because we want to see what round two looks like. There have been some years where I've seen, where it's vice versa, where, our round, one might be very strong. And yes, maybe we have given out, less offers for round two. But once again, it's really hard to say until we know what the strength of the overall applicant pool looks like. I will say though, from, with Indian applicants, I do believe that round two is probably where we see more of a high volume of applications. So, at the end of the day, we're still looking for the strongest applicant pool. Doesn't matter, where you're coming from. Just make sure that you put your best foot forward, and make sure that you show why you are the best fit for our program.
Good. A follow-up question: is there a rough estimate admissions committee has in mind in dividing the 100% admit pool between round one, round two, and round three?
No, and once again, every year the applicant pool is so different. we may, and we get asked this question all the time as far as like, do you admit a certain percentile in round 1? Yes, round 2, round 3. And no, that's not the way our process works. Once again, there are some years where the strength of round 1 may not be as strong. So, at the end of the day, even with round 1, yes, if you're a strong candidate, we know that you're a great fit here. I do want to move forward with an offer. But once again, there are some years where with round 1, I do want to hold off because round 2, I want to see what the quality of round 2 may look like. And so once again, every year it's really different. And the way our process works, it really just does depend on the strength of the applicant pool for each cycle.
Understood. Next question is by Karan Singh Bora. He's asking if there is also a process involving Kira video interview rounds after submitting the application before actual interviews.
Unfortunately, with our process, no. So we with our process, it's typically just your overall application. Of course, if we feel that we would like to move forward, it's going to be your standard 30-minute interview. So no other video options that we present, in our process.
Okay. And a follow-up question is if students can take electives from some of the other grad schools and undergrad schools at Cornell, which I believe you do allow. Dyson School, there's some courses from Dyson which are permitted, but please go ahead.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So once again, I think that this is one of the great thing about the program is, yes, that flexibility. So we see students that take courses through Dyson, through the hotel school, the College of Engineering, Industrial Labor Relations, the law school, health administrations, just to name some programs. So yes, you do have that opportunity.
Awesome. Next question is from Arushi Jain. She asks how Cornell supports interest in healthcare consulting, and if there are any specific courses, electives, experiential learnings that candidates can take in addition to being a part of the healthcare club.
Yeah, absolutely. So great question. And I think going back to what I just mentioned is as far as the flexibility of taking courses outside of outside of Johnson. So there is the Sloan program, which is our health administration program. We do see students who are looking to get the MBA, but once again, focus on more the healthcare consulting side of things. So one, it is taking elective courses that are offered at Johnson, the business school, but also elective courses that are offered through Sloan as well. Yes, there is the healthcare club as well. There are conferences and workshops that our students participate in every year as well. So I would say that's kind of where majority of our students who are looking to go more the healthcare consulting route will get their overall experience, but also too, know that if there are opportunities that we are not presenting at Johnson, but you are looking for that support, we're also happy to help guide you and support you in that way as well.
There's an interesting question from Pankaj Baldeva. He says that the STE Immersion is expected to be discontinued. He wants to know if some of the courses being offered in the STE Immersion, are they being offered as a part of a different immersion now?
Yeah, great question. So great question. So yes, this past over the last couple of months, we have decided to move SGE as an immersion, and it will actually be an intensive in this in your second year of the MBA program. And one of the things that we were finding with SGE in particular, just say, for example, someone really wanted to focus more on the sustainability side of things. They wanted to do, it from a consulting side or a finance side is what we were seeing. So students were taking advantage of, like, let's say the management consulting immersion but then taking elective courses through SGE, etc. So we've decided to allow candidates to continue to go this route with offering the 5 immersions that were listed earlier. But then once again, SGE will be offered as an intensive within your second year. So you can still be able to have the immersion that you're looking for, especially if you're looking to go consulting, the financial sector, tech, whatever it may be. Couple that with SGE in your second year to really be able to have both experiences as well. And then also just keep in mind, there are the different centers and institutes as well that we offer at Johnson.
Great. So it's just a timing difference and nothing else, nothing to worry about.
Correct.
Essentially.
Correct.
Karan has another question on scholarships. He's asking if there's a separate application process for applying for being considered for scholarships.
So there is no separate application process. In the application, we ask a simple question as far as, are you looking to be considered for a scholarship? Yes or no. You click on yes, and then in our initial review, or in our final review of giving an offer, we will indicate if you have been awarded a scholarship or not. And know that scholarships range anywhere from, I would say, about $10,000 US dollars per year, all the way up to full tuition. And once again, it is based off of the competitiveness of your overall application.
Ishan Butts has a question. He asks that in the 1+1 degree, he says that we need to select an option in the second year MBA application. So is there anything else the candidates need to mention or explain in the essay section on the 1+1 degree? Right.
You know, I really, no, it's really just that simple to indicate, one, your interest in the 1+1 program. I think, you know, hopefully in your goals essay, it really also talks about your interest within tech. So those are some of the things that we will be looking at. We'll be looking at your goals and, you know, do your goals make sense? And does it align with what we're looking for the 1+1 program? So really that's all that you have to do, but also be prepared in your interview to address your interests within the 1+1 program as well. So you will most likely, you know, if you indicate the 1+1 program, you will most likely have someone who's going to ask you a little bit more about your interests. And that's going to go back to the committee when looking at your overall candidacy to be admitted to the 2-year program, but then also to be given the option to also do the 1+1 program. So I hope that helps.
Praful asks if Cornell accepts DET. I think it's Duolingo test, right? Other than TOEFL and IELTS.
Right. So unfortunately, no, we do not. We are looking at it for next year's admission cycle. So, you know, right now, yes, the 2 options are really more of the IELTS and the TOEFL. But for anyone who's looking at applying after this year, I do anticipate us eventually accepting that.
Anirudh Malaya asks if there are any insights you can give the do's and don'ts for re-applicants.
Absolutely.
And, the follow-up question is if MBA Math or Coursera courses, do they add value to the profile when you're applying as a re-applicant?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. And one, we love to see re-apps because I think it does show your level of commitment to the program. And it really, you know, hopefully shows that you are providing updated information of how you strengthen your application since you've last applied. So really, what I would say is, as a reapplicant, go back and do some self-reflecting on your overall application of why Johnson is the program that you're still interested in. Go back and look at your goals to make sure that, you know, they make sense, or is it from an academic standpoint with a test, or, you know, the outreach to the community here at Johnson. So really put your best foot forward, but also be prepared to address how you've strengthened your application since you've last applied. Yes, if you do something like MBA Math, Coursera, I think that it's something else that can help just show from an academic standpoint that you're serious about this process, that you also, it's something current, it's something relevant. Once again, you're serious about this process, but also it shows your quantitative abilities as well. But once again, it's much more than just the Coursera MBA Math. Just think about the whole package, your work experience. Has there been any growth since you've reapplied? Are you working on new projects? Are there promotions? Are there new test scores, etc.? So always happy to address further, that question about reapplying. So I hope that helps.
Parampreet has an interesting question. He's talking about sustainability careers and sustainability. He's asking what resources does Cornell offer for people who are looking for careers in sustainability?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're looking to go in sustainability, I think once again, just kind of talking about the various elective courses that are offered between Johnson as well as other programs, here at Cornell. Many of our students will take advantage of, as I had mentioned before, just more of our Sustainable Global Enterprise intensive, which was formerly one of our immersions, but this will happen in the second year. There is also our Sustainable Global Enterprise, center as well at Cornell. So whether it is, once again, advanced level courses in the sustainability space, whether it is, being a part of clubs or organizations, whether it is attending various conferences, focusing on sustainability, Johnson, between the elective courses and I think the centers and institutes, I think that's where a majority of our students are going to get the support and the resources in this space. We see students who are looking to go more of this sustainable consulting side of things. I have seen students who have worked more in the financial sector with companies that really have more of a sustainable option and growth. I've seen more students who are looking to kind of go more of the impact investing side of things. I've seen students who are, entrepreneurs in this space. So I will say, I don't think that we see as many students, especially over the last few years, looking to go in with the focus of sustainability. But still, I believe that the resources that Cornell and Johnson has will really help prepare you in this area. So I hope that helps.
So other than resources, we're also talking about networking opportunities in sustainability, which I believe, because sustainability, I think, is a more recent, up and coming choice of a career. And, with United Nations, SDG and all of those things really making an impact. And I believe a lot of governments also having to adopt these standards. I think the careers in these fields are going to blow up, and it's good to hear that Cornell has taken a lead in offering candidates with networking opportunity and these kind of resources. Very
Absolutely. Good. Everything that you do in the MBA world is from a networking side.
Yeah.
And I think that Johnson really prepares you for that. At the end of the day, we want you to represent our program to the best of your ability, but also, when you're out there talking with top executives, et cetera, you are walking away as being one of the experts in that industry, in that field.
Next question is from Ishan Butts. He's asking, with this new GMAT Focus Edition, and the scores are all topsy-turvy now. How do you compare the Focus Edition candidates with the candidates who've taken the legacy version?
Yeah, so I know that GMAT has provided their comparison chart, and right now right now, especially being that this is our first year, we're still trying to fully fully understand that process, the scoring side of things. So the comparison chart has been really helpful for us to kind of get a sense of where, someone who takes the GMAT focus versus the original version really stands. So that's what we've been looking at from a comparison side of things. But once again, it's much more than just that. It is also looking at your academics and, thinking about, your time throughout your undergraduate work, demonstrating once again your quantitative ability. So it's much more than the test. But once again, that comparison chart has been helpful for us to get a sense of where you may stand.
Yeah, for the benefit of candidates, I'm sharing a link to these comparison charts in the chat. Please feel free to click on that link and go through the comparison between the new scores and the old scores. The next question is by Durga Naga Anirudh. Anirudh wants to know if you could shed some light on the career goals essay. What exactly do you look for here in this essay? Is it more about how do we aim to use Cornell to reach our goals, or is it how we bring value to the program, or is it a mix of these two?
Yeah, so I think it can be a mix of these two. I think the most important thing for us is really very straightforward. What are your short-term and long-term goals? And you really being able just to articulate what that is. What we were finding before, especially when the goals essay was more of an open format, I think it was more, I think when I first started, it was like 1,000-word essay. Candidates were really getting lost answering the question of really what your goals are. So one, I would say just answer the question, what is your short-term, long-term goal? But also think about Cornell, like how is Cornell going to be the school to really help you get into that space? But also think about your transferable skills. So, if you're looking to make the transition from asset management into consulting, also other than just a Cornell MBA, how are you going to get there? So I want to know, like, what your background looks like, what those transferable skills are, maybe what are the skill sets that are needed, to really be able to get into that space. So once again, the most important thing, because it's 350 words, just answer the question as far as what your short-term, long-term goals are, but then also transferable skills and how Cornell can help you get there. So I hope that helps.
Ujita has a question, and I believe it's a very short answer you can give. If there's a process candidates need to follow for application fee waiver.
Yep. So for application fee waivers typically with granting fee waivers, we do encourage our applicants to attend one of our Ask Admission sessions. There's really nothing that you have to do on your end, as long as we have your name as far as someone who's attended that session. It will automatically be updated in the system once you have created an application. So, if you haven't created the application, go ahead, create the application, and then we'll also notify you when the fee waiver has been applied.
Candidates attending today's webinar, does this count for the waiver?
So typically we do grant waivers for our Ask Admission session today, and today I will grant that waiver for anyone who has joined the session. So I know that initially maybe the messaging was different on my end, but at this time, yes, I will move forward with everyone who has attended this session to be granted a fee waiver. So please go ahead, create that application. Once I have a list of everyone who's attended this session, once again, that fee waiver will be applied. So I hope that helps.
Thank you very much for this, Eddie. And I think it means a lot to us and all the candidates attending today's session. Sachin Mehlawat has a question. Sachin asking, what is the percentage of candidates that usually get into VCPE roles after MBA? And if I may have a follow-up add-on to this question, Cornell is based in New York State, right? And I believe that there's proximity to Wall Street, and there's proximity to maybe consulting firms, but not so close to the Silicon Valley, which is on the other side of the country. How does that translate into post MBA jobs? The kind of profiles, the kind of job profiles that candidates are able to crack. In fact, after you answer, maybe we can get Atul also talking about his own experience, because he's one of those candidates who from consulting went to Cornell, changed his careers, went all the way to San Francisco Bay Area, and now he's in India, Bangalore, the tech capital of the country.
So just to answer the question as far as VCPE, so one, I would say it's a very, and once again, every year it's completely different, but I can probably count on probably two hands how many students actually go VCPE post MBA. Majority of students are looking at, I would say, VCPE more towards like a 5-10 years down the road, but also to to get into VCPE, and I think most business schools will tell you it is very challenging if you don't already have networks in the industry or have the overall experience as you're coming into an MBA. So once again, the percentage is going to be very small, and once again, it really depends year over year. And most students, I would say, go more the investment banking route first, or consulting, and then transition into VC or PE. As far as our location, I always say that I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions about our location, is the fact that, yes, because we are 4 hours away from New York City, of course, on the other side of the country from like Silicon Valley, that our location hinders us from the recruiting process or students successfully recruiting. At the end of the day, I think that employers know the quality of a Cornellian and the value of the strength of our students. So it doesn't matter what company, firm it is, they are coming to campus to recruit. Yes, our students also do have to travel to do some recruiting as well. But I think at the end of the day, firms and companies really value a Cornellian being a part of their companies. And then the last thing that I'll say about that is, you have to also keep in mind our alums work for some of these companies, the best of the best companies out there. They also have a pay it forward mentality. So all they're trying to do too is get Cornellians into their companies because they also know, once again, the strength of our students. So I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Atul, you want to weigh in?
Sure, absolutely. So I also want to address the PVC question in a bit, right? Because I have tons of friends who are into that role now across the world, right? I have a friend who's who's a principal at a fund in Saudi Arabia. I have a friend who's doing impact investing out of Thailand. I have quite a few friends from Silicon Valley who are now, deep into the venture capital world, right? So it's perfectly doable. Obviously, you need to hustle a lot. It's not a easy. It's a top heavy industry, right? Because there'll be a lot more principals and only a few associates. So that is why a lot of people go through the investment banking or consulting route, or the startup operation route, and then get
sell side to buy side.
Exactly, right? To the point about working in tech, and if I'm not wrong, at least during my time, Amazon was the highest recruiter. Like, I have like a lot of my good friends based out of Seattle, still working at Amazon, working at Microsoft, 7 years out, right? And to talk about Silicon Valley, I think this is just one of I was very, very deeply associated with the Cornell Silicon Valley group, and I've been to, just for my own recruiting and networking, I've been to Silicon Valley during the second year. I went there like 6 times or 7 times.
Wow.
Right, almost my entire spring break was over there. Winter break, all the breaks I was there. I was busy recruiting. I was busy meeting people. And this is just one stat which will showcase the power of Cornell. Typically, when you think of California, you would think Berkeley would have like a huge network, Stanford would have a huge network,
Yeah.
and tons of other schools.
Yeah.
After, and this was the stat given to me in 2017. So if there are any changes, please bear with me. After Stanford, the highest number of university alums, that is Cornell. There are 11,000 Cornell alums working in the Bay Area.
Wow.
And it's only second to Stanford because Stanford is located right in the middle of Palo Alto, right? So any company that you can think of, small to large, you have someone working over there, and like a Cornell name will open doors for you.
Yeah.
I've gotten, I've just cold emailed people who were chief marketing officers at Airbnb. And they've given me a booking just like that, right? Like you get an appointment just because, you're a fellow Cornellian.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that just showcases, the giving mentality of Cornell and the wide network that you get throughout the world.
Next question is by Adarsh Ganesh. Adarsh wants to know if there is a ratio split amongst the 285 students between the 1+1 and the regular MBA.
Yeah. So our target right now for like the 1+1 program is to enroll about 15 to 20 students into the program each year. So one of the things that you will know about the 1+1 program, so just say, for example, with your offer of admission to the 2-year MBA program, your offer letter could say something like, congratulations, you've been offered to the 2-year program, and you have been given the opportunity to take advantage of the 1+1 program. But also in that offer letter, it does say that it's not binding. And the reason why we say that is because we know that once you get to the MBA program and you start, there are going to be students who realize that they don't want to do the 1+1 program. And, maybe they don't want to spend a full year in New York City, and maybe they want to take advantage of one of those 7-week intensives instead, or maybe your career goals completely change as well. So our goal is to, out of that 285, be able to have about 15 or so actually go into the 1+1 program. So, this year we've made our offers for the 1+1 program. We'll see how many actually want to go. So once again, our target is to have about 15 to 20 actually enroll into the program.
I have a quick question, Eddie. You seek applications for integrated program as well. That's a 5-year program, which is an undergrad plus an MBA, right? Now, I believe those 5 years are back to back. So if you start this year, you're plus 5 years, you'll have these 2 degrees from Cornell. Of course, you need to apply to both the Johnson GSM as well as the undergrad school and get admitted to both. That's a given. But my question is regarding the work experience prior to MBA and how the B school looks at that. Because if you're accepting integrated program candidates, they'll probably have no work experience in joining the MBA class. Vis-a-vis the candidates who are applying only for MBA are expected to have a certain work experience. So how do you look at the pre-MBA work experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question because yes, the work experience side of things is, I think, really important, because also we think about integrating someone with, no experience to someone who has, 5+ years of experience, and making sure that our students are getting the most out of it. So I will say that, I can probably count on one hand, and usually there might be a couple students admitted to a 5-year program. Some years there are none, who are admitted to the program. But these are usually exceptional students in many different ways. One, strong academics, definitely stronger test scores. Many of them are have already started some type of entrepreneurial venture. Some may be going back to a family business. Some of them have great research opportunity or research experience or internship experience. But once again, I think the depth of their experience is above what probably the average undergraduate candidate has. So, once again, we're very selective as far as if someone even makes it through the 5-year program each year. But once again, there's something about their profile that really does have to stand out. And even without the work experience. And we do multiple follow-ups with them, throughout their 2 years. When I think about the students who have been admitted from the 5-year program, at least in my time, being here at Johnson, they are really the exception. They've all gone on to do amazing things. They've done very well in the recruiting process. And I'll be honest, I've never looked back at a decision for a 5-year candidate and regretted that decision, because once again, there's something about them that truly stands out, in that. So once again, you're talking about literally maybe a couple, if not, there's some who don't even make it throughout the year.
So just a follow-up question. Can you give us an example without naming names of one such candidate that you accepted in the 5-year program?
Yeah, one, I think that they graduate, of course, they're a Cornellian, great school. They come from competitive programs, whether it is the undergraduate business school or not, their GPAs are within the top, I would say probably 2% of their class. Definitely have competitive test scores that are, above what our average looks like. One student that I can think of, family is in a successful family business, and has been doing, some great work from the family side, from a financial standpoint of helping the family business grow, but also is eventually taking over the family business, even at a young age, post MBA. So, those are the things that we do have to, we take into consideration to what recruiters will think, to, once again, are you going back to a family business, or are you an entrepreneur as well? So, but also to the presentation piece of it. Like, we really have to think about, overall preparation, maturity, etc. And I think these are the candidates, once again, who are able to demonstrate that in the admissions process.
Aditya Raj is asking us if there is an email ID you can share where candidates can reach out to you directly.
Yeah, absolutely. So please know that I am always willing to jump on a call, whether it's just regarding your profile, etc. My email address is ea356@cornell.edu. And once again, that is ea356@Cornell. Thank you. At cornell.edu. Thank you. And once again, I'm always happy to jump on a call with anyone and everyone on this call. If we want to schedule a half an hour call just regarding the program, your profile, etc., always happy to do so. So please feel free to take me up on this offer. I love the work that I do. I love interacting with candidates. This really just makes my job, special. So if there's anyone that I can connect you with, or as well as myself, happy to do so.
Great. In fact, I'd type in our email ID again as well, which the candidates present today can use to drop in an email to confirm their presence today, as well as ask us and schedule any appointments with our advisors and consultants and mentors. So we'll drop in that as well. We have taken up a lot of Eddie's time.
And I appreciate, once again, I appreciate all that you all do here. And I appreciate also the thoughtful questions that came through. And I always tell candidates to like, make sure that you're very thoughtful about the questions that you're asking. You know, definitely do your research in advance. But I think that this is also another way that candidates can stand out in the process is by really coming prepared with great questions. So thank you so much.
All right, I guess we've answered most of their questions. And Eddie, Atul, thank you so much for your time today. This was unbelievably useful. There's, I think, a lot of candidates who have quite a few insights into the application process, into what it means to be a Cornellian, into what it takes to stand out across the crowd of applicants in front of the admissions committee. And I think the key takeaway they're taking here is that the admissions committee is directly accessible. Please feel free to connect with him. Seek any other queries you may have specifically on your profile. Like Eddie, we are also available to help your case, and we just would be very happy to see you succeed.
So thank you so much, and once again to all the candidates out there, I wish you the best in this process. Once again, feel free to reach out, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening.